Hey, I'm Jordan, and my wife Amy and I co-founded and own Powder7. Today I'm reviewing the Atomic Bent 110. I've been ripping this ski in powder, groomers, trying to get all of it for you. Let's go out on the snow and see how it performs. In this review, I'll try to cover everything from deep pow all the way to groomers. But let's start with the most fun aspect, getting it up in the air, some ski aeronautics. The Bent 110 was super dependable on landings, and I always felt like I would land with my feet directly under me, very well balanced with this ski. Even though the tips and tails are soft on this ski, underfoot is quite stiff, which helped a ton to stomp the landings and always feel good going up in the air on this. I never had qualms going off things on it, and landings were super dependable on the Bent 110. In the trees, the Bent 110 is especially well suited. It's light, quick, nimble, yet has a backbone, so it's not going to wash out on you when you really try to dig into a quick turn. Let's take a moment to admire the beautiful top sheets and the shape of this ski. You can see it's got a pretty big twin tip, a lot of rocker in the tips and tails, but the tail was still dependable. It wouldn't wash out on me, which is a good thing. Those graphics are super nice, and I will just say as well, the 2024 version is same ski, new graphic. Right now you're looking at 2023, but there's no change to the actual ski itself. Another thing you'll notice is the tapered tips and tails. You can see how the base gets thinner at the edges, and the actual metal edge also ends early in the tips and tails, which is a nice feature to have. And that especially makes these skis quick if you want to rotate them, do some spins, do a little bit of park stuff. Now let's dig into the deep snow powder performance of the Atomic Bent 110. I almost did a review of this ski in spring of 22 when Atomic did an early release of it, but I'm happy I waited because I've gotten in a ton of powder days to really test out this ski in the deep powder, and it performs phenomenally well. You can also see my long form review of the Bent Chetler 120 that I did last year, and I got in a lot of powder skiing with that ski. But I gotta say, I somehow like the Bent 110 a bit more in deep snow, which is a bit inexplicable because it's a slightly narrower ski, so it shouldn't ski as well as the 120 in deep snow. But for me, it did. The small issue I had with the 120, even though I like that ski, was that sometimes one ski would go randomly off in one direction, and I'd have to kind of bring it back towards me, get it back in balance. With the 110, I never had that issue. The skis tracked extremely well. They were always predictable. I never had one ski suddenly getting a mind of its own on me. I even got the Bent 110 into the real deep stuff, 2 to 3 feet of blower snow, the real gnar, and it never felt lacking to me. It always felt fine. I think if you really, really want a dedicated powder ski, then yeah, maybe you do want to go for the 120. But all in all, I found very few drawbacks to this ski versus the 120. I prefer the 110. I think there's just a lot of positives to it, and it almost floats as well as the 120 in super deep snow. If you have a little bit less snow, so you got a little bit of dust on crust, the ski does really well. Super quick, nimble, and that's where it especially shines through because it's got the float, but it also often feels like a skinnier ski. I skied a lot in spring snow, and not even fresh snow, just normal spring conditions. And this ski was super fun, felt almost like it was 100 underfoot. It was so quick, nimble on the spring snow. And this footy right here is a nice example of great snow, but it is a bit of a firmer base. Okay, here's where this ski really surprised me, is in some pretty firm stuff, whether it's bumps, full-on bumps, or just piles created by skiers by the end of the day. This ski really chomps through it and has no trouble with it, which is surprising given how light it is. But as you can see, it holds a line extremely well, and something I noticed with this ski is because it's so light, it does lack a little bit of dampness in a vertical direction. So when you're pointing the skis going straight, you're getting bounced around a little bit up and down. Not bad, but if you compare it to a super stiff or just a straight up thick wood core ski, you're getting a bit more deflection up and down. However, with this ski, much like the 120, I got no side-to-side lateral deflection, which is what I would really expect to happen with a lighter ski like this. And that's kind of the deflection I'm a little bit more worried about because that's going to throw me off my line. I can deal with some up-down instability, whereas left-right, I really want strong performance, and this ski 100% does that. Much like the 120, the ski rips pretty well on groomers. I was a bit surprised by it, a lot like the 120. Holds the line really well. It's just plain fun to carve hard on it. It holds well, holds an edge, and you can really tip it over and lean it on edge, and it works its radius really nicely. We've had so much snow this winter that somehow just testing out the groomer performance of the ski turned out to be the hardest aspect to review. So I finally got out of the groomers and like these a lot. Okay, I'm a dad of 3, and while I try to be a rad dad, you're not gonna see me absolutely tearing up the park like some of the park skiers do, but I'll give it a shot. And this ski, with the help of its lightweight design, does rotate really well. I got in some 180s on it, even a couple 360s. It's solid. Now the ski almost faces an existential crisis. Is it a touring ski or a resort ski? What is it? I'd say it's suited for everything. I wouldn't blink an eye at someone putting a tech binding on this, and I wouldn't blink an eye putting a Burley Look Pivot 15 on this. When it comes to weight, I'd put this in the lightweight resort category. What that means is this weighs in at 3,500 grams for the 180 size. Woo! Compare that to a lightweight DPS Tour 112, which comes in at 3,000, versus straight up resort ski like an Atris that comes in at 4,000. Even though it is designed to be light, we at Powder7 find that most customers just mount a straight up downhill binding on this ski. So don't feel odd about going that route. If you're also interested in sizing info about the Bent 110, then go to our site, powder7.com, type in Bent 110. That brings up the product page. We've got all the sizes from 188 down to 172. Keep scrolling down, and there is my talk about sizing for the Bent 110. Thanks for watching. Leave any comments below about what you like, don't like about this review, and I will read them.